toll free.
You're listening to Screen Break with Martin Kelner and Will Buckley.
Well, time now for the fast-rising podcast in the podcast charts. It's Screen Break with myself, Martin Kelner, and Will Buckley. Two titans of fighting talk, the five live... titans of the...
I think it's more Titanic of fighting talk.
Yeah. Well, interestingly enough, I did it recently.
Did you?
Yes, and I won it as well. But you got to mention, it was I think it was something like the 22nd anniversary of Fighting Talk. So they went through what happened in the first show. And in the very first fight, are you knocking on the door? There's always noises off when I'm doing this with you.
Knocking on the door? No one knocks on my door.
No, but...
Walter de la Mare, there's a knocking on the door.
Walter de la Mare, no one knocks on my door. And so they went back to the first show 22 years ago.
My God.
You were on it.
Mm-hmm.
They said it was, I think, was it Johnny Vaughan who presented
Certainly
it?
Was.
Yeah.
They did one pilot.
Yeah.
And I was, after 20 minutes, I was hauled off. So I thought, oh God, I've blown it here. Yeah,
They did a pilot for it.
Listening to the first episode, you may be surprised.
Yes,
they did do a pilot, and so I sort of waited around for 40 minutes, thinking, that it was all over. And then they said, no, we pulled you off because you're already in. That's a rare moment.
That's a rare
moment.
Yes,
the first show, I think you'll be able to tell me who was. Tell me what they said about it. I'll try and remember what
they just went through who was on it, presented by Johnny Vaughan. But I noted your name, Bradley Walsh, possibly.
Of course.
Yeah, I was on an episode because you had it was four of the same people every week, wasn't it? It was what Gary Neville would call middle-aged white men. It was four middle-aged white men.
Well, one was Canadian.
Oh, yes, that's right. It was Greg Brady, who's a Canadian sports guy.
I think, no, not quite. Stan Collymore was on the first one, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, there you go, middle-aged white men. Apart from Stan Collymore,
and Stanley was, I'm not sure whether I can repeat this. You can decide whether to...
It's a podcast. Repeat what you like.
Okay, so...
Dip your bread, as we say up in this part of the world.
Dip your bread. Apparently Richard E. Grant always has bread rather than poppadoms because he suffers from misophonia.
Misophonia? That's a new one. I suffer from prognosonia or something, but that's a new... What is it again?
My kids used to suffer from it. It's the sound. They can't stand the sound of eating.
Ah.
So I produced Sunday lunch, and they'd all go screaming from the table as I tried to eat my perfectly prepared roast beef, chicken, pork, lamb, whatever.
Yes, well, that wouldn't make much noise. I mean, hopefully, if you're eating in a reasonably civilised way, roast meat would sort of...
It's psychological. It's psychological.
Unless you serve it. It's psychological. What's it called again?
Misophonia.
Misophonia, right.
Yeah, if you put misophonia in The Guardian into... your Google, which you're very good at doing.
Yes.
I think I'll probably pop up. But there you go. Where were we?
Well, we were talking
we're
about...
back at the first episode of Fighting Talk. The very first episode of Fighting Talk.
I mean, mostly, let me explain, if you're getting onto Screen Break for the first time, mostly we talk about things we've seen on screen. But as you seem to have been, you're searching for somewhere to live, so you've not been watching much television.
I have watched a bit.
Have you? I've watched loads of stuff.
Fantastic. You're always good at that.
Yes.
You're a great TV watcher.
A great TV watch. I almost made a living out of it for a while. Or at least I thought I was making a living out of it until I rang my financial advisor up and said, what have I got in my pension?
I got a compliment the other day.
Oh, you got a compliment?
Yes. Yeah. Someone said to me, you know, you're really good. You know what you're really good at, Will?
Yeah, go on.
And a lot of things flashed through my mind, yeah? And the answer was sitting down.
You're good at sitting down?
Yeah.
Is that a skill? I'm sitting down now.
I think it meant the ability to sit down as often as you can.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me one bit.
It could be one of those backhanded compliments.
Yes, it's nice.
You don't do anything, you just sit.
It's nice to get a compliment.
When was your last compliment?
Yeah, well, last comment was actually when I won Fighting Talk, which was a couple of weeks ago. Yes, I'm not saying this just because I won it.
No, it's fine.
There is a point to all this, and the point is, what do people get out of being particularly nasty online to someone that they don't even know? When I was on Fighting Talk, which went reasonably well, the first
did you win, Martin?
I don't want to talk about it, but yes.
But it wasn't about the winning, it was about the taking part.
Exactly, it was.
I went 82 episodes without a win. I think it must still be a record.
I've gone 3 years without a win.
Yeah, but not 82 consecutive episodes.
No, not 82 episodes. And the first comment I read is some bloke who's, I would say probably a middle-aged white man, who's online, he's on Twitter or whatever, he said... I see you're still chewing on the bone that Colin Murray tossed you. And I thought, I was first on with Christian O'Connell, and B, I wasn't chewing on anybody's bone. They asked me to do it, and I did it. And I thought, chewing on the bone. And I thought, what satisfaction would anybody get out of that? And then there was somebody else whose avatar name is...
Did it get lots of likes? I presume you're chewing on the bone that Colin Murray
I
gave
got
you.
lots and lots of likes. I think.
Did the guy who was criticising you get lots of likes?
No, it was some guy with 4 followers. And sometimes you
getting follower competitive.
Yeah, sometimes I like to... I didn't even bother with this guy. I just blocked him. But sometimes I like to go back and see. You always see these people who've got 9 followers or something. And you say, very much enjoyed your joke. And I'm sure your 9 followers did as well.
You're not, yeah. Do you have a sort of table of people's, the number of followers that all your insultees?
It's on there. It's on Twitter.
To get back to the first episode. Okay, so I'm there, right?
Yeah,
and it was fairly free flowing. And Johnny was hosting it, and Judge Jim.
He's good. He's funny.
Yeah. Do you remember Judge Jim?
Judge Jim, no.
Johnny's sidekick. This was early days of Fighting Talk. This was the golden age.
No, I would say the golden age was when Christian O'Connell was doing it.
Okay. The early days. Call it what you will. I'm not as competitive as you, Martin. No. So.
You always say that, but I don't accept it. But anyway,
let me breathe. Colin Moore's sitting next to me, and in those days they had quite a lot of live sports reports as well. They didn't, it's all freeform, as I said. So they go off to Pat Murphy, who's covering the Paris Women's Marathon.
Is this the first episode?
First episode, yeah. He does a classic Pat Murphy, quite detailed report, which is eating into Fighting Talk time. And Stan turns to me and does something with his hands, which, of course, because this is... I could do if we had a video. And says to me, you would, wouldn't you? And I thought, it's 11:30 in the morning, Stan, yeah? It's a bit early for that kind of stuff. Anyhow,
you would, wouldn't you? About
is
it on a screen? It's on a screen, is it?
No.
Well,
Pat Murphy's talking about Paula Radcliffe.
Ah, right.
Okay. Stan turns around to me, does something with his hands indicating an intimate act, performed by Paula and received by Stanley. And I did say it's 11:30 in the morning, Stanley, calm down. The next day, he was on the front page of the News of the World.
For saying what he said?
No, for consensual dogging.
Oh, yes, I remember the dogging.
In Cannock Chase, which was the sort of Old Trafford of dogging, the theatre of dogging. Whereas I always thought Thetford Forest was the home of dogging. Norfolk being the doggers' paradise.
Hey, I'll tell you what, when I was on Mansfield 103.2 doing the Late Show...
I thought that was a dogging site.
Well, it's interesting you should say that. Interesting you should say that, because there are several dogging sites in that Mansfield area, Clumber Park, Sherwood Forest. Yeah. And what we did was, obviously there's no travel news in the show when you're on Last Thing at Night, but we created a travel news thing, and we just went through all the dogging sites, but said, but didn't mention that they were dogging sites. We just said there could be a little Yes, there could be a little sort of traffic problem a bit later tonight at Clumber Park, etc., etc.
Because there's that book written by a friend of mine called 50 Crap Towns, which did quite well. How about 50 crap dogging locations? The worst dogging locations in the UK.
Yeah, I'm not sure they're still publishing those sort of books.
Toilet books? They never. They withered on the vine. Toilet books.
Yes, I think no.
I was king of the toilet book. For someone who still is sitting down, the toilet book is I got to number 11 in the Sunday Times bestseller.
Did it really? Which was the one that did that?
Who Cares Who Wins? The inside story of the SAS, but with a foreword by General Sir Peter de Billionaire.
Peter de Billy Butlin, yeah.
No, not quite.
Have you ever heard of Butlin's Bum?
What's Butlin's Bum? I've been to Minehead Butlins, where they've got a huge statue of Billy Butlin in an outsized deck chair.
Yeah, we stayed at Pathelli Butlins when I was a kid. But Minehead Butlins used to be on my patch. I used to work in Taunton for the Western Daily Press.
Okay.
And was often called up and told, get yourself to Minehead, there's a fight broken out at Butlins. But Butlin's Bum is because of the chalets and the lack of facilities in the chalets.
There's there's no TV, there's no towels, there's no soap.
There's no soup, there's no soap, and there's no ensuite bathroom. So what tended to happen was people, especially lads who were on a stag night or something, would pee in the basin, which caused no problem for lads. They just but for ladies, there was a difficulty. If they had a lot to drink, they had to use the loo a lot. In other words, use the wash basin a lot. They could develop Butlin's Bum.
And if you're in Butlins, it's a sort of bidet. It's a poor man's bidet.
It's a poor man's bidet, and that is Butlin's Bum.
I've spent 2 long weekends at Butlins Minehead with the darts. Blimey, that's a long weekend and a half, Martin.
I bet it is. So
they closed the swimming pool and all the entertainment. I mean, all the things you might use just in case someone damages themselves. But I was there and, oh, crikey. It's Dalmatians throwing up, the whole caboodle, everything just mental, Jimmy White, sadly, being the star playing games of pool against people dressed as full English breakfast. It was a big come down from the greatest player never to win a world championship. So I'm in Butlins and I'm walking down, I have a lanyard because I was doing the bingo. And one middle-class woman in Minehead comes up to me and says...
Oh, so this is quite recently then? Bingo is only... you're talking about match bingo?
6, 7 years ago, yeah.
Have you been doing it for 6 or 7 years, that match bingo? I thought you only do it for a couple of years.
Anyhow, so she comes up to me and says, oh, you've got a lanyard. Maybe you can explain could you tell me what's going on in the Butlins Minehead? Because it's extraordinary. I said, yes, I can. It's a UKIP conference, so that ages it. This is pre-reform. This was UKIP.
Yeah.
And she said, what about those big cheers? When everyone gets 180. I said, that's whenever Nigel Farage tells a joke. And she said, thank you so much for informing me. And look what's happened since. Both Darts and Farage have taken off. They've gone beyond Minehead Butlins to God knows where.
You're getting emotional about it, Will. I didn't realise Darts and... Minehead meant that much to you.
Quite a lot,
yeah. So I wanted to finish a couple of stories that
can I make one more comment about dogging?
Oh, yeah, please. About dogging. Yeah, go on then.
Don't Google this at work. Seagulling.
Yeah, I can guess.
Do you know what seagulling is?
Well, it's normally seagulls swoop down and steal your chips. But I'm trying to think what the alternative... Tell me what seagulling is. It would be something I've never done, but go on.
I hope not. No, if someone comes up to you and says, when you're dogging, Martin, do you mind if I seagull? It means that they're going to come over your front screen.
Right.
You might want to cut that.
I don't know whether I'll cut. I'm debating whether to cut that or not. But what happened to piking? Because when it first started, it was dogging.
Piking?
They used to call it dogging and piking. They used to say it's dogging and piking. And
what was piking?
That was what it's like. Country and western. First it was country and western music, and then somebody in the middle of the night shot western, and it just became country music. And it was the same.
The Man That Shot Western.
Yeah.
It's a great John Ford movie.
Yes, and that's why we're calling it Screen Break. Very occasionally we refer to something you can see on screen. John Ford movies, that's something. Yeah, but they used to call it dogging and piking, and then all of a sudden piking, probably the same man who shot western shot piking, and it was just dogging. So
And what was piking?
well, I think one was doing it and one was watching it. So I'm assuming piking was probably watching. Who knows? So I want to finish a story. I was telling. This is. Let me just explain to new listeners what this is. This is called Screen Break. It's where Will Buckley and myself, as two of the finest writers of sport on TV, talk about television, but not particularly sport, about anything, and movies as well. I have seen A House of Dynamite, which is the new Kathryn Bigelow film. You know Kathryn Bigelow of Hurt Locker and Zero Dark 30. And it's about the last 16 minutes before the nuclear bomb hits Chicago.
I think I've read the book this is based on.
Ah, you might have done. Yeah.
Called Nuclear War, unsurprisingly.
Yes, it'll be the
It doesn't
same.
hit Chicago, it hits...
Well, no, it was in the film. It was Chicago.
Okay,
Whether they changed it for the movie or not, that's
Yeah, they
possible.
may have done.
Who's written the book?
Nuclear War, a scenario, Annie Jacobson.
Annie Jacobson. I'll check that out. You might be right. I must admit, I read a couple of reviews and I didn't see the name Annie Jacobson. I thought it might be written by Richard Osman, who maybe had the
Branching out from cosy crime to big time crime.
No, just have those elderly people from the retirement home sort of stopping it, because it's only got 16 minutes before it hits. Well, in the movie, it's Chicago, and you see it from a few different angles. It's very clever.
Who's launched the nuclear thing?
That's the whole thing. They don't know for certain. It could be a misfire. It could be North Korea is one of the theories.
In the book, it's North Korea, right?
Yeah, well, that's just a theory in the movie.
And it's I'm quite good at actually this. You've got to do podcasts count as Screen Break?
Podcast, yes, this is Screen Break.
Yeah, so there's that one by Tortoise and Sky about Russian nuclear war.
Right.
And how it could happen now. The worrying thing is, I always assumed that if North Korea sent a nuclear bomb at America, they could shoot it down, yeah, because they've got more money.
Well, that's one of the things in the movie, whether they can do that.
They can't. It's like sending a bullet to hit a bullet, and
Yes.
you miss by a metre, you might as well miss by a mile.
Yeah. People may want to watch the film The House of Dynamite when it comes onto Netflix, because it'll be on Netflix in about a couple of weeks' time. So, spoiler alert, what I call a late spoiler alert, because we've just it is a bit of a spoiler, because we think the same thing. They might shoot it down, but in the film and obviously in the book as well, they can't.
No, it's Armageddon. It's bye-bye.
Yeah, well, it is, but it's a great study in all these different departments of the American military and how they operate, etc., etc., and what might possibly be a scenario that could happen. So who knows? The other thing I've been watching and I've been mentioning on the podcast is the Alan Partridge mental health thing. I've been watching Alan Partridge, and I'm a huge fan of pretty well everything Steve Coogan has done in his almost everything. He did that Farino, whatever it was, the Portuguese singer who wasn't
Tony
great.
Farino.
Tony Farino.
It must have been Tony. Of course, it was Tony.
Yeah, it wasn't great, but I mean, most of the stuff he's done has been brilliant. But this latest one, I think he needs Armando Iannucci writing the scripts, because this latest one, not particularly good.
But you and Alan Partridge go way back, don't you?
We go way, way back. I can remember...
Who was the first person to link your two names in a possibly not complimentary way?
Oh, everybody. Michael McIntyre. Michael McIntyre was my guest on the Late Show, which I used to do for regional BBC radio in the North. And he'd done a gig at Jongleurs in Leeds, came into the studio, brilliant, very funny, the usual panoply of late night local radio and everything. And he said to me, "Do you know what? You remind me a bit of Alan Partridge." And I said, "Well, that's interesting because..."
How many followers did he have at the time?
It was pre-Twitter. It was pre him becoming, the massive. I mean, he was very big on the comedy circuit, but that was all. But anyway, so he said to me, "This is a bit like Alan Partridge." I said, "Well, that's interesting because Steve Coogan was brought up sort of 2 streets away from me." And he does.
You were like an uncle to him, or older brother, weren't you?
So
Uncle Martin.
No, I didn't know him. He's younger than me. We never met. But what I said to Caroline Aherne, I launched her career, if you like. Well, not if you like, I bloody did. So Michael Maxwell. So he says to me, "This reminds me of Alan Partridge," meaning. So I said, "Well, I'm not surprised because he's got the same sort of accent as me, his natural accent, and he's projecting like a radio person. So
and he's a comedy
voice,
genius.
He's a comedy genius, exactly. Yeah. So it's natural that it would remind you." And he said, "No, not the voice, the whole thing."
You are the whole comedy genius.
The whole thing.
And you do impersonations too. You can do George Formby. You can do
George Formby went down very well in Fighting Talk.
I just teed you up for that.
Thank you. So you said you were going to say who's more like Alan Partridge, me or you?
Well, you've been called Alan Partridge more often than me.
Yes, definitely.
I don't have a radio show and I don't use jingles. I don't sit in the pub doing jingles. Or maybe I should. Maybe
I don't sit in the pub doing jingles.
No, I know, but you sit at work. You're known for your jingles, Martin. You're a great jingle man.
Well, it's bless you for saying so, but I'm not sure I'm a great. I mean, there are much greater jingle men than me.
Who are the 3 greatest jinglists?
Tony Blackburn. Tony Blackburn.
A great jingler.
Tony Blackburn loved.
What made him a great jingler? Tell me a bit about jingling, and then I'll tell you why. If I could have been Alan Partridge, actually, but let's keep that one waiting.
Jingles were originally made in Dallas by proper singers and orchestras. We're going
country
way
and western singers, or just
a lot of them would be country and western singers. Some would be just westerns.
The western singers, when they lost out for country, they went into the world of jingles. Did they make more money? Maybe they did.
Well, it's funny you see you all these sort of offhand facetious comments you make actually have a germ of truth, because
you call them facetious, I call them curiosity. Well, we can talk about that anyhow. Keep going. Tell me the germ of truth.
I'll tell you the germ of truth. There is a subgenre, if you like, of country and western music.
Maybe we should call this the germ of truth.
There's a subgenre.
Okay.
I do get texts from people saying, "Who's that guy keeps interrupting you?"
It's meant to be a monologue. You didn't tell me that.
No, I do a monologue. I've done a monologue.
I know
today,
you do monologues. Yes.
The germ of truth is that there was a subgenre of country and western music called Western Swing. Bob Wills and the Texas somethings or other, Texas Cowboys, I think.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
No, not Chainsaw Massacre. But Bob Wills and the Texas Playboys. I used to play his music a lot. It's brilliant.
Yeah,
I love Western Swing.
Back to Tony Blackburn. Oh, sorry. And what makes a great jinglist?
Well, Tony Blackburn worked on pirate radio in the 60s, and they had these jingles that were made in Dallas, the old-fashioned jingles. And they were great because they had orchestra and singers, and they weren't done by AI and the way jingles are done these days. And he loved them. And he had a jingle. I think I might have played the clip before, but I'll maybe play it again. I interviewed Tony Blackburn. Actually interviewed him a couple of times. Once for my book, When Will I Be Famous?
I've still got that book, although I'm thinking of throwing it away as I declutter.
What's the woman with the decluttering? What's she called? The woman who does the decluttering?
I know, it's tough work for a hoarder, decluttering. Anyhow, let's not go down the decluttering thing. Let's get back to...
No, well, whoever she is, she's Chinese or something, isn't she?
Back to Blackburn, the king of the jinglers.
Yeah. I was just going to say that that decluttering queen, the queen of decluttering, always says that my book should be the first thing you throw out when it sends a message. That's the start. But anyway, so I interviewed Tony Blackburn for that book. Also did him on.
You did him. What, 2-footed tackle?
interviewed him on the radio as well. And in the radio thing, he had a jingle which I dug up from somewhere, which just said, "Here's a time check, here's a time check, here's a time check." So he didn't just give you the time, he had a little jingle to say he was going to give you the time.
But that used to be when you rang up, we didn't have watch it. Well, if you couldn't afford a watch, you didn't have a phone. You'd ring up Tim, didn't you?
I think watches.
To get the time.
I think people did have watches in the 60s. There's a lot of stuff we didn't have in the 60s. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have mobile phones.
Martin, you were living on the hog. You had a Swatch or whatever, not a Swatch, Timex.
Timex. I had a Timex.
You had a Timex.
And I tell you, there was a big watch firm in the 60s, Bolivar. And I've still got a Bolivar watch. They used to sponsor the time on Radio Luxembourg. They used
Sponsoring
to say,
the time.
The time, sponsored by Bolivar.
I like that.
Yeah. Anyway, he said,
sort of round the clock. Literally, sorry, but I mean, what a great thing to sponsor.
Yeah. So Tony Blackburn said
we sponsor time. It's quite a deep concept, actually. Anyhow, keep going with Blackburn. Yeah.
He more or less said that he was he said he invented the time check. He said before he came on the radio, people were wandering around. What time is it?
What day is it? Where am I?
And he came on the radio on Radio Luxembourg, not Radio Luxembourg.
He invented time. Tony Blackburn invented time.
Yeah. So
I was wondering though. I mean, with these jingles, I want to know who's number 2 and number 3. But remember when you were never in comedy? But when I was in comedy,
you were in comedy. Will tell me about that. What did you do in comedy?
Yeah, I told jokes, anecdotes or whatever. Anyhow,
well, tell us a joke.
That's why I'm not still in comedy. Okay?
Right, fair enough.
So it was called Jongleurs. Was the big
I know
umbrella.
Michael McIntyre did it.
Of course. To get back to him. What about jinglers?
Oh,
so you just kept people coming up with their great jingles.
Do you know there are some people, radio fans, who would bloody love that?
It's not a bad idea. I do this podcast to get my brain working again and think of things to pitch, which will come to why I could have been Alan Partridge.
Yeah.
So when you watch Alan Partridge, just before I tell you my anecdote and before we get back to the silver and bronze jinglers.
I haven't got a singer. It's just
Tony Blackburn. The rest nowhere. But you must say you're silver then.
Well, bless you for saying.
Is Blackburn dead? Is Blackburn dead?
No,
he's not.
He's very active on.
Okay, so you're not the greatest living jingler.
No, I'm not. He is the greatest living jingler, and he's on. I don't know what he's on, but he's on some radio stations. Definitely, he's well alive.
So when Armando was putting together the radio show from which the TV show and Partridge came, there was talk that I might do that slot.
How do you mean do that slot?
Be the sports broadcaster.
No.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know whether that's a compliment or not. It might.
Well, I mean, do you take it as a compliment? I don't know. Anyhow, right. They found Steve Coogan.
Yeah.
And
it didn't take much finding. He was on Spitting Image.
Yeah, okay. I was down the corridor. It took a bit more finding. Anyhow, so Armando invited me to lunch at the BBC to say, look,
what did you have for lunch?
Well, you remember the episode because you've made a lot of play of the episode with monkey tennis and all that. Talking about your appearances on Fighting Talk, you often troll out monkey tennis.
Monkey tennis, yeah.
So
it's a trope, monkey tennis.
It's a trope.
It's a trope, yes.
Which comes from.
It's a meme and a trope.
It comes from. So Armando invites me to lunch at the BBC canteen, just like Partridge is invited to lunch by. Who is it? I can't remember. Anyhow, and he said to me, "Look, well, Steve's going to be the sports presenter, caster, or whatever, but we could see you as being the lawyer. Yeah, I've got this idea.
Well, you are a lawyer.
I am a lawyer. That's why he thought of me. He said, I think he only thought about. I was only in the potential sports thing because I knew about sport, which not many people in comedy did at those days. No. Sport wasn't very popular.
Sport was popular. 150,000 turned up for the White Horse final between West Ham and Huddersfield in the
but
1920s.
not many of them wrote for BBC Radio comedy.
No, radio had only just started in those days.
Yes, go forward 60 years, but no matter. So we're having lunch together, and he said, find these quirky laws that, like, you could be sent to prison for 80 years for da-da-da-da-da. I said, Mando, that's a shit idea, yeah? How about these ideas I've got?
And you that was all yours ideas.
And I came up with ideas that made monkey tennis look like... No. I came up with ideas that made monkey tennis look like that's the one we're going for, okay? So when I saw that episode, it was more like a documentary than a comedy programme. Because I was the bloke sitting, as Partridge does, as he pitches increasingly, some may say, erratic ideas.
So that was an episode of the TV show. Yes, I remember it now.
Yes.
So I don't get what your point is. Are you saying you invented monkey tennis?
No. All I'm saying is, watching Alan Partridge, I'm taken back to that lunch and what might have been.
Right. Well, what might have been. Don't do that. I could
you could
I'd
go
kill
on
myself
forever.
if I went back to what might have been. But yeah, I invented sports people as biscuits, and as a little tribute to me, I think, on the 22nd anniversary of Fighting Talk, we did do a sports people as biscuits.
Did you?
Yeah, sort of.
When did you invent? Well, how do you mean you invented sports
I was the
people?
first guy.
But you're a jingler, not an innovator.
Well, it's nice of you to say so. No, it isn't nice of you to say so. It's rather cruel of you to say so. I'm an innovator. I invented sports people as biscuits, simply because question 2 on Fighting Talk always used to be a sort of postmodern thing, about sports people in some other capacity. And because one week we did it, I said, oh my goodness, what are we doing next? Sports people as biscuits. And from there, we actually did do sports people as biscuits. So there you go.
Did you patent it?
No, there's lots of stuff I should have patented or patented, as you call it, for some obscure reason. Lots and lots of things. Anyway, let me tell you, I want to finish off a couple of stories that I did in one of my monologues. And one was, we did a little bit of filming in Chesterfield. Mm-hmm. Are you familiar with Chesterfield?
Yep, I've been to Chesterfield.
Yeah, so we did some filming in Chesterfield. And I was talking about Tony Capstick. Now, you've never heard of Tony Capstick?
No. Is it a glue? Was he Capstick? Wasn't that a glue? No, that was
Prittstick.
Boss stick.
Boss stick, Prittstick. There's all sorts of sticks. But Tony Capstick was a bit of a genius. He was in that genre, or subgenre, if you like, of comedians that did folk clubs. So we're looking at Mike Harding, Jasper Carrott, Billy Connolly, obviously the king of them all. They grew up through the folk clubs. You familiar with that movement, late 70s or thereabouts?
No, enlighten me.
Oh,
folk,
right.
I thought was Bob Dylan and...
Well, yes, that's right. But you've heard of Billy Connolly?
Yes.
Right. He was in a band called the Humble Bums. They did,
I've heard of them too.
Yeah, they did folk clubs. And what happened was
folk anything folk and something else?
Well,
like country and western, folk and...
No, nobody...
estate agents called folk and something. Anyhow, whatever, yeah.
No, it's not an estate agent firm. I did used to say the folk show when I was on... because most stations had a folk music show, in the early days of commercial radio. And you never knew when the folk show was going to be on, because there was the guy, if he did a gig, he wasn't doing his show. So I always used to say, well, you don't know where you are with a folk show. 1 minute it's folk on, the next minute it's folk off.
Good, I was waiting for it. Perfect.
Bless you. Yeah, bless you. But anyway, Tony Capstick used to go around folk clubs and do a bit of singing, because he was a folk singer as well. But then he did patter, rather the same as Jasper Carrott, Mike Harding, all those.
But that's what you are, jingles and patter, J&P.
So he did... Don't bring everything back to me. He did.
You are. It's a monologue.
Not a monologue, but I just wanted to finish the story.
You wanted to finish your monologue. You started this. Anyhow,
I wanted to finish the story about Capstick.
F&P, folks and patter. Kelner's your man.
people were. He was a funny guy, but used to.
That's you.
Thank you. Used to like a drink, much more than I like a drink, as you know.
You're careful with your drinking.
Very careful.
Because you don't like buying
drink
around.
much at all. That is
folk off.
Beneath you. Folk off, Will. That's not true. It is beneath you. That's just one of those.
Drink slowly.
That's yes. I'm not. I've been ill, so I'm quite careful. I was told.
I assume
not
people
to
are
drink
drinking
more
slowly to avoid buying around.
No,
but maybe that's wrong. They could have
could
have health issues. I apologise to all the people I thought were round dodging.
No, I'm just seeing that, Will, as an anti-Semitic trope. But then, of course, it would be, because you were brought up through the English public school system. Chelsea fan. Well, I mean, they're built on anti-Semitism, those places. You're also a golf player. You probably belong to a golf club where they don't allow Jews in.
They don't allow me in.
Anyway, forget all that.
For dress problems.
Anyway, Tony Capstick was very funny. Came from Rotherham, drank a bit too much.
Okay, as you might if you come from Rotherham.
Yes, but the only thing because I was talking about Chesterfield, people wonder why is he mentioning Tony Capstick in connection with Chesterfield. Chesterfield was the place where he held a loaded gun to a taxi driver's head.
Fucking hell.
Yes.
Folking hell. So that's...
Folking hell, yes.
That is, for folks' sake. I mean, we could go on. What happened? Tell me. You can't just leave us dangling there. What was the taxi driver doing?
Do you know what? I've looked all over the internet and I've forgotten the details. I mean, I just remember...
It's all in the devil literally is in the detail.
Well, I can't find it anywhere. I would have to ask people who were around at the time who might remember it. I remember, the only thing I remember about it was in Chesterfield, and he was in a taxi and he got a gun. Whether he there is a story about it, or it got a line in his obit. You'd think he got a nice obit when he died. And, he was a bit of a genius. And when he died, he did. I'm surprised you never heard of Capstick Comes Home, which was
Kathy Comes Home.
Have you heard of Dvorak's Ninth Symphony?
The New World Symphony.
Correct.
Yeah. Don't like it.
What people like me call the Hovis music.
Was it Hovis or the Wandin line? Was it the Wandin line?
No, it was Hovis.
Oh, it was Hovis. Okay, yeah.
There was another piece of classical music on the Onedin line. I think we call it the Onedin. So I think that's why I mentioned Tony Capstick in connection with Chesterfield. But on the Christmas thing he did, Capstick Comes Home. It was he did it
for Christmas, having not been there for the rest of the year.
Did you? Have you heard of the expression "you great useless spawny-eyed wazzock"?
Wazzock, I've heard of.
Wazzock. I mean,
spawny-eyed
wazzock, was it an expression you used at Eton, or maybe not?
I didn't talk much at Eton. I call them the silent years. I was watching. It's more anthropological.
Which university did you go to, Will? Did you go to university?
Yeah, I did go to university.
Well, obviously you're a QC, not a KC. You're a QC.
Neither.
I thought you were a QC.
Never near. I didn't have the Latin, Martin.
Didn't have the Latin, a bit like Hancock.
It's Peter Cook, actually, but no matter.
I think Hancock probably did it before Peter Cook.
We could go. We're going deep down into...
Deep down. We always do with you. That's the... yeah. So...
the charm. I thought you about this.
That's the charm, yeah. What was I saying? I've forgotten now.
Tony Capstick, and you had another monologue to finish.
Oh no! The other thing was Rick Edwards, who's now the host. He's the current host of Fighting Talk, and I think he's very good. I think I would say,
come and get me, please, right there.
No, he's. They got me. I was on a couple of weeks ago. No, I was talking to him about. There's an interesting quote. You'll like this about quiz show hosts. Yes. And how it is, it's a real skill. Do you know when Colin Murray wasn't doing it, and they had various other people doing it, and people like yourself and Justin Morehouse thought, well, I could host that. I could be the host.
I don't think I ever said that.
I'm sure you did. So in those days, but it's a definite skill being a host. And I was talking to Rick Edwards, does a daytime quiz show. You know, I'm always watching his daytime shows.
Yeah, I know. You've got them on one. You've got your daughter on one.
She was on The Weakest Link. She was on The Weakest. She was in The Weakest Link.
So she was on both screens at once, Sky News and The Weakest Link.
No, she was on The Weakest Link when she was a student at Sheffield University, and then after graduation, she
Good
became...
university, Sheffield.
Yeah. Which one did you go to?
I can't remember. Sheffield is my son went.
You must have gone to Oxford or Cambridge.
Correct.
Well, what a waste of a classical education. Anyway, yeah, Rick Edwards. So he does this thing on telly called Impossible, which is not a bad quiz.
Yeah, it's fine.
But he makes... Yeah, have you watched it?
Yeah, 5 years ago, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's
I
still
don't imagine it's changed much.
No, I don't think it's changed at all. I think whatever they were doing 5 years ago. But
I think he's changed the winning format.
I think he's quite good because he's just very, very slightly sarcastic. You know, right. The whole Anne Robinson thing from The Weakest Link. That's
Do you think we've been too sarcastic during our lives?
I think you've been too sarcastic during this fucking podcast, to be honest.
That's not my whole life encapsulated in one chat with Martin Kelner.
Could be.
It could be, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Or folk.
Dear.
Yeah.
You should be in comedy because you're the king of the callback. You're always calling back to something we said 10 minutes ago, and then I forget what it is I'm actually saying now. But that might be more my fault than yours, to be honest.
That's called comedy.
That's called comedy, is it?
Linking back. We know that.
Yes, we know the callback's great. I sometimes call back to something that I did sort of 3 weeks ago in a different podcast, and I found that works very well.
Fine, if it works for you,
go
with it.
Thank you. So I've been watching that, whatever it was I was talking about. I've seen...
Tony Capstick, what were you watching? So, forgive me, I've forgotten what you were watching with Tony Capstick.
No, I was just going to say that he did that. Well, Top of the Pops. If you ever see an old Top of the Pops from the late 1970s, you'll see him doing his recitation where he says, it's like in the advert, there was a voice that said, "He were a great baker when our dad." That one. He were a great baker when our dad. That's in the Hovis thing, where they shot it in Dorset. They shot it in somewhere in Dorset. But it was meant to be the north of England. There was a cobbled street. There was a hill going up.
I remember the hill, yeah.
Yeah. Good. So you're...
Is that the hill he died on?
Oh, dear. I think this is the hill we're both dying on.
Well, you, mate. I think this is comedy gold, Martin.
Yes,
but you're the jingle.
comedy.
If you could liven it up with a few jingles.
It would work, wouldn't it?
Maybe a few of Blackburn's jingles. I can't believe that there's only one great jinglist. Yeah.
Well, there's only one who's now... I mean, he invented the time check. There's nobody else can invent. How about this for a joke? You know, there's on the TARDIS, there's no toilet on the TARDIS. No. If you ever see the TARDIS, and you can go and visit it at BBC Television Centre, which is a block of flats now, but whatever, there's no toilet on the TARDIS. But if you're on the TARDIS and you need a shit, all you need to do is go back half an hour to when you didn't need a shit. So
you don't get Butlin's bum.
You don't get Butlin's bum or TARDIS, whatever.
whatever
it might be. Yeah.
Interesting.
Money can't buy happiness. I read in the newspapers.
Do you?
Yes.
Which newspapers are you reading now?
I read this in the Times, or so the saying goes. Economists and psychologists, it turns out, are rather less sure. There's some person, Dr. Elizabeth Dunn, from the University of British Columbia in Canada, not Cambridge.
Well,
like you. Was it Cambridge or Oxford you went to? Oxford?
No.
Cambridge.
No, I went to the Shy People's University.
Why is that the Shy People? Oh, because you've not got the footlights there. You're more scientists in...
No, we do have the footlights, but no, it's just in the fens. It's quieter.
That's quieter.
More time to think.
Okay, well, but here's what they've been thinking at the university.
You don't want to be a politician. The politicians go to Oxford. The comedians go to Cambridge. And the Nobel Prize winners, but that's incidental.
Donald Trump never went to Cambridge, surely.
Donald Trump?
Yeah.
He hasn't won it yet.
No, he's next year's.
If he wants it that much, give it to him. It keeps him happy. Take his mind off other things.
Yeah, good point.
Richard Bacon suddenly turned up on Newsnight, because I do watch television occasionally, and I watched Newsnight. When did he become a political pundit?
Oh, Richard Bacon. Do you know what? We mentioned him in the last podcast, I think.
Did we?
No, well, I did. Because he was born in Mansfield. He's Mansfield.
Was he?
Yeah, as I describe him as the coke-snorting children's TV presenter.
Precisely.
Richard Bacon.
From Mansfield. But they didn't.
From Mansfield.
They didn't, funny enough, they didn't give that as his Aston when he turned out on Newsnight, which has become a very reduced show of talking heads. And there he is discussing...
Oh, this Gary Neville, middle-aged men, all that shit?
No, it was Richard Bacon, someone from Reform.
Yeah.
Quite a bright person.
It's so lame these days, isn't it? And they say, well...
Why? How is Bacon... Because, I mean, if he can reinvent himself as a political pundit...
So can we. Let's offer ourselves to Newsnight.
Second best jinglist, Martin Kelner, on world poverty. Yes,
and well, I do a little bit of politics from time to time on this. Yeah, I do mention it from time to time. Well, the issues that are, it's
Bacon came.
What was Bacon? I mean, presumably he's just doing the sort of liberal, sort of lefty-ish.
Well, he was sort of pro-Trump.
Pro-Trump?
For the peace stuff. Right?
Oh, yeah, well, you've got to be for this.
Yes, I'm not. But all I'm saying, I couldn't quite get over the fact of thinking, what's he doing on this show, telling me what to think about politics?
Yeah.
Although his hair looked good.
His hair looked good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might, next time I go to the Kurdish barbers, I might ask for a Richard Bacon.
Can't get bacon in that's how religious they are.
Okay, yes. Yeah.
Well, I think we've more or less covered everything that you've prepared, Will. And I must admit, I had stuff prepared here, but you've been so funny, Will, that I never bothered. I was going to talk about Ted Rogers, and I bet you don't know.
Oh, 3-2-1.
Yeah, 3-2-1. You've heard of Ted Rogers.
Dusty the bin, yeah.
Yeah. And Mick Miller, we mentioned him in a previous podcast.
I thought he was a greyhound.
No, that's Mick the Miller. That is a great historical reference. That's a greyhound in the, 1950s or something?
Oh, great greyhound. Up there with Blackburn.
Did you, when you were writing your stuff in the Observer and the Daily Express, did you write a column about Mick the Miller? I'm thinking you did.
No, I went to the Greyhound Derby, though.
Yeah.
Greyhound, so it was so big after the war, 50,000.
Massive.
And then Victor Chandler, my business associate, he owned Walthamstow Dog Track.
Yeah.
The dogs.
It's cruel to the dogs. Is that what we're saying?
Well, Barry Hearn said to me, I don't know, Bingo Will, I don't know why they don't just fucking save everyone a lot of time, take the dogs out and shoot them and forget about it.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's a point of view, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Shooting them won't be entirely popular. A lot of people sort of leave, and people do rescue them these days. You see people, you people with a greyhound. You say, "Well, it's lovely, it's greyhound," and they'll say it's a rescue. You don't even have to put dog on the end. It's a rescue.
No, I get that.
Yeah. Sounds to me like we've run out of stuff, Will.
I thought we were just beginning, Martin.
Well, I'm sitting here. I mean, there's lots of things. I didn't even finish the study that they were doing at the University of British Columbia in Canada. They've been decoding the science of spending.
Uh-huh.
She has run dozens of surveys and sifted through mountains of data. You wonder what the fuck they're doing at universities all the time. Recently, she oversaw an extraordinary experiment in which $2 million, that's £1.5 million according to the Times, $2 million was shared...
They're crash shot on exchange rates there. They may be bad at other stuff, but they're good on it. Anyhow, yeah. $2 million.
$2 million, £1.5 million, $2 million was shared among participants to spend as they pleased, all in the name of understanding how money and happiness interact. That's a great bit of research. Now, I was asked by Ipsos, would I like to participate in a survey about what I watch on TV and what I look at on the internet and things? And I said,
be careful then, Martin.
I said, yeah, I don't mind doing that. And they offered me a £50 M&S voucher. I said, get in touch with those people at the University of British Columbia in Canada. They're giving 1,000.
£1,000 to spend as you wish.
Yeah, it's like
what happened on the set? I'm very interested. You've got my attention.
Yeah, well, you'll have to look it up because I'm not. Basically, there were various results of these experiments, and they had little mini headlines. And the headline on this one was "By time." By time. Your happiness depends on how you spend your hours, according to this Elizabeth Dunn person.
Yeah, I get that.
Dunn said, money spent to reclaim time for meaningful or enjoyable activities is surprisingly effective. So
we've gone from the man who invented time, Tony Blackburn.
Precisely.
To buying time. And the one thing I'm watching is a documentary about John Palmer, the Brinks-Mac guy.
Not a midfielder.
No, not Carlton. No, John Palmer.
I was thinking Cole, actually.
Oh, come on. Well, he's God. But 37th richest man in the... He bought timeshares as one of his things in Tenerife. So buy time, not timeshares, is very sensible. Because buy a timeshare is a bad idea.
That is a bad idea. We went along to a presentation.
I'm sure of course you did. They could see you coming. The jinglers in the house. He'll buy anything.
Yeah, it was myself, my wife, and our kids. And the kids had a whale of a time playing. And
Spawn of jinglers, wife of jingler,
now major media personalities. So, let's have
for all of you.
Bit of respect. No. Will, we're a fucking dynasty.
Now that would knock the spots off that Dallas knockoff.
Yeah. So anyway, we went to the
buy time. Go back to buy. Oh, sorry. Tell me your timeshare anecdote.
There's no anecdote there at all. We went along and I didn't buy anything, and they pestered us a little bit. It was days before the internet, you see. They couldn't steal anything from you, really. They couldn't say, "Oh, just give me your and
give me your jingles."
You're obsessed with these jingles. I guarantee you, the audience will not be amused by that one little bit. Or the bits that I leave in, because as we always say,
won't be allowed the chance. You see, that's where there's a disparity between us. But buying time, yes, I get that. If you're time poor, if like us two warbling on now, we might be considered time rich.
Time rich.
If I could sell my time,
well, let's all do. Maybe.
Should we become time sellers?
Let's sell a share. Let's sell a share in this podcast. Well, we're going to have to leave it there because we have rumbled on for ages. 54.
We've got enough for 2 shows here.
We've been talking 54. I could do that. I could split it up in half.
To be continued. Yeah.
I may do that.
I hope you do, because I'd hate to see it. All my jokes as ever just.
Well, first of all, I'll be examining it forensically for those jokes you've just mentioned, and then I'll make sure that when I do split it up, if I do split it into 2, there's one in each podcast. So
I'm an anecdote man, not a joke man. You tell the your jokes and jingles.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm Germs of Truth. Will Germs of Truth Buckley. There you go.
Excellent. Will, as always, it's been a pleasure broadcasting with you as co-presenter, of course, of this.
I've gone up from second banana.
Very much so. We'll do it again very soon.
I hope so.
You've been listening to Screen Break with Martin Kelner and Will Buckley. Leave Martin and Will a review or rating, and please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. You can use the hashtag ScreenBreak to talk about the show on socials, and for exclusive content, head to martinkellner.substack.com.